Welcome in to another episode of the My Two Bits Gators football podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, joined as always by your other host, Mr. Randy. Randy, we were just here. We just did this. We're doing it again. Welcome back. It's gonna be a lot here in the next few weeks. Things are popping off in Gainesville, man. How's the temperature? What's going on up there?
I feel like Pepper Brooks here. Hey, B, we're doing it. Yes, again. Awesome. F and A. F and A. Nah, man. It's really it's exciting. It's palpable. It's going to be interesting to see how this class really rounds out. But the fact of the matter is that we were able to keep the majority of this class intact amid everything else that's happened.
Amazing stuff.
Phenomenal.
Yep, amazing stuff. All right, cool. Good deal. And then we got other news today, of course, too. Just the news just keeps coming in, which is good stuff. Pretty cool hire today, I think. We'll talk more about that in another pod, after another pod, after another pod. No, but in all seriousness, good things here. So with that, we'll get into today's pod, which is going to be episode on your early National Signing Day review. And that is what we were going to be covering in this episode only for the purposes of this episode. But again, many more to come. So with that, without further ado, our intro, our mission, our accuracy disclaimer, our vision, our agenda. Our mission is always to provide factual analysis of all things Florida Gator football. Our accuracy disclaimer is that our information will be accurate to the best of our possible ability. We will cite our sources whenever we use them, and all statistical data comes from either ESPN or stats.ncaa.org. And on recruiting data, of course, comes from on3.com. Our vision is to have unfiltered conversation around the product on the field, as well as recruiting and overall coaching decisions. Our analysis will be based on review of film, and while we will express opinion, that opinion should always be based in some form of fact. We will also evaluate strategy and tactics and discuss our observation of player personnel decisions, as well as on the field execution. All right. Pretty simple agenda for tonight. We will be going over the overall class ranking and discussing where it currently stands and how it looks. Do a player breakdown and analysis of what each of the players in the class is going to bring to UF. And then we will look at what the class still needs, or what the team still needs, really, based on the needs the class does and doesn't fill, and then wrap things up. And that is pretty much it. But to start things off here, before we get into that breakdown, we've got to give a shout out to this staff, both current and previous, however you want to look at it, the new staff, the staff that was here, that transitioned, the transition staff, whatever you want to call it. Heck of a job. Absolutely heck of a job to be able to maintain essentially this entire class at this point. I mean, there's a couple guys that haven't signed yet. They're still anticipated to sign. We lost one guy, the person we announced that decommitted. He did end up transferring or not transferring, but committing to Temu. So, good luck with that, Carson Baker. All the best and all that, except not really. But, we did lose him, and that is a loss, but it actually didn't affect our rank. So it's not that big of a loss. But we literally kept everybody else, assuming that these last two guys signed, and actually flipped a player as well, which is pretty amazing stuff when you look at it. I mean, it's actually really amazing stuff. That typically does not happen. If you want proof, go look at Penn State right now. Their class is in shambles. Now, granted, they don't have a coach, so I'm sure that affects it, and Franklin stole pretty much all their players to Virginia Tech. But nonetheless, this is what can happen when you lose a coach. We saw this when Mullen left, and that class went absolutely nuclear, right? And Billy had to come in and salvage what he could, and he did a pretty decent job of bringing that class back up, but nothing like what you've seen here. Basically, everybody stayed. That's remarkable. I mean, it is more than remarkable. It's incredible, especially in this day and age of NIL and all these, deals and everything else going on. I'm blown away, to be honest with you. Absolutely blown away. Get your thoughts on that before we get into the overall ranking here.
I don't know. Now again, I know there are some other schools with a class of 24 and 27 and 31, and I guess one class I saw 42. I'm like,
good
what?
Grief.
And I'm looking at 19 players. And I'm going, okay, realistically, if we can keep 13, 14, maybe even 15, that'll be good. Well,
I wanted 16, or no, I wanted 15 of the 18 to stay because we had 18,
16, right?
and it bumped up to 19 because of the flip. But
Right. So it's like if we can salvage that, that's going to be good. We've got something to work with. We understand transition, we understand deltas, we understand flux. But to come away with 19 out of 19, yeah, we lost one, but we gained one, so we're net
oh yeah,
neutral.
you're right. Yep,
Holy
yep.
smokes. Unbelievable job. The testament to the outgoing staff. Now, again, some of them will be retained, some of them will go. That'll be ironed out here in the coming weeks. But regardless of the fact, regardless, and I wish I really had a gauge on a lot of those players that were there at Summerall's press conference when he was first announced. But you had to know that the phones were lighting up, they were hot, FaceTime was on, they were going, they were talking, and again, the only thing you can say is just golf clap.
I mean, I'm gonna have to give it more than a golf clap. I want a standing O on this for me,
Okay,
man. This is
fair,
big
fine,
time.
fine. Give it to
But
him.
your
Give it
point
to
is
him.
taken. Your point is taken for sure. I mean, just incredible stuff, really. I mean, outstanding job. Really outstanding job again by all parties involved here. Because
Really don't know how
this
they did
is
it.
I really don't either. I really don't either. Because yes, we may have not had the huge standout. You know, you kind of mentioned it over and over. We went through this. We didn't have 5 stars in this class, understood,
Right.
but we had a lot of 4 stars, a lot, 14 of them now, right? That's a big number. That is a big number of 4 stars, and we kept every single one of them, assuming that Caden Hall does end up signing because that is the one asterisk here. But
Yeah.
uh, I mean, all the rest of them we kept for sure, guaranteed at this point, in terms of them signing their letter of intent. So pretty impressive stuff. All right. So speaking of that, let's look at the overall class ranking here. Currently ranked 13th on three, which is the site, as we mentioned, we'll always use here, and 7th in the SEC. These classes are not truly final until February, just for a note here. But for the most part, this is what they're always going to look like, right? Because basically everybody signs now, right? You may get some stragglers that come in and potentially some additional recruits. Like we picked up Onus Conanbani late last year before the end of the actual signing period actually ends. But ultimately, pretty much everybody signs now. This is how it works these days, right? So and I think it's going to be more and more like this now, especially with the movement of the transfer portal. I think you're going to see basically that it's a done deal, which it effectively is anyway, but it's really going to be more and more that way moving forward because of that transfer portal happening later in the year now as they've changed that. So, um, as I already mentioned, keeping this together, just an incredible feat. However, having said that, we really weren't able to gain anything either, right? Other than the flip we talked about, which means there are still pieces missing here, which is, for the record, totally understandable that we weren't really able to gain anything. I mean, how could you do that in a couple of days, right? Totally get that. That's not that's not the expectation at all, right? Um, so this still isn't the kind of elite class that is going to get us back to the upper echelon of talent in the SEC, right? We're still 7th, middle of the pack, right? And that continues to be a hump that we have not gotten over for many, many years here, right? And I will be very interested to see if this is something that can happen with Summerall, as in getting back into the top 3 or 4 in the SEC, right? Which means you're the top 4 or 5 in the country typically. Not this year, actually. Ironically, the top 3 classes, not one was in the SEC. It's been a long time since that's been the case. But typically, you're going to have to be top 4 or 5, maybe 6 in the country to be in the top 3 or 4 in the SEC. That's usually what it takes, which is nuts, but that's just how it is. But for now, I'm really interested to see how he'll leverage the portal to fill the gaps on the roster that we do have to address. And we'll talk about that more later, obviously. But those are my thoughts right now in the overall class. Again, just really very pleased. And it is a solid class. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not disparaging it in any way. It's just not to a point where you can put it at elite status, certainly by any means. So your thoughts?
Hey, I'm gonna have to echo a lot of those sentiments. And we'll talk about it towards the end here as far as the needs as they
Yeah.
come up and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. But for the most part, what I was surprised about was I think you may have said it, the number of 4 stars. Yeah, for 19 total, it's not that high. It's a decent amount, but the quality that is in here for the 19, Yeah, we'll take it. There's a reason why we're sitting at 13 overall with only 19 commits. It's because of that quality. Because I'm telling you right now, if you throw in some of the other 3 stars out there and things of that nature without having a five, and then you dilute some of that quality, well, this these 19 commits more look like we're in the early 20s. So that just goes to speak to the
That's
quality
right.
that's in there for the amount that we have.
Yeah, average player rating is higher than like the next 3 or 4 or 5 classes above us. I think you have to get up like 4 or 5 classes above us to get to the next higher, where the average player rating is equivalent to.
Right.
So which we've seen time and time again with classes that Billy recruited. For what it's worth, he tends to have smaller classes that are
Yes.
higher in talent. That does tend to be a hallmark of stuff that he's done. Um, so we'll obviously won't necessarily have that again going forward. Maybe we will. Who knows? We don't know what summer alls look like yet, but we'll see how it goes. So, but yeah, good stuff. All right, ready to get into the breakdown?
Let's get into it, B.
All right, get us started, man. Give us the start here with Mr. Gross.
We're going to get started with Davion Gross because he is gross in a good way.
Yes,
Wide
indeed.
receiver, right, also can be classified as ATH, athlete. So he can line up at wide receiver, he could go to running back, he can play a myriad of positions on the field. Awesome. So that's where the ATH designation comes in, which a couple of sites have him as. 6'1", 190 pounds, out of Lone Star High School in Frisco, Texas. 4-star, 94.92 overall. Nationally, number 67.
Yep.
Amongst wide receivers, number 10, and in the state of Texas, number 8. So, very solid start there. Primary contact, Billy Gonzalez. Go figure. Good job,
Yep.
Billy G. Getting this one, great relationship builder, as we know Billy G is. Passionate about the Gatorhead. Awesome. Another thing about Gross, fielded over 32 offers. So he was definitely sought after in a lot of different ways. Couple things. High level receiver prospect. Okay. Again, like we talked about, I just mentioned wide receiver or athlete. So go as a wide receiver, line up in the slot, go to running back. He's got a lot of different places on the field that he could be dangerous at. He looked more explosive at the running back position. But on a senior tape, dynamic perimeter weapon. He stretches the field, go vertically, hit the long ball, and in addition, catch and run, short game target. Great hands. Um, Screams down the seam. Good speed. With the slot speed verified with the track, including a Texas 5A gold medal winning 200-meter time. Again, more of that track speed. Good
Nice.
body control, good spatial awareness, okay, to present a very good contested catch weapon, okay? Not to mention he's very mindful of his positioning. So, with it regarding boundaries, regarding end lines, things like that, very aware, high football IQ. Davion Gross is going to be a very good addition to either the wide receiving core or the running back core. We can use him a lot of different places on the field. Great addition nonetheless.
Nice. Yeah, I think he'll likely play wide receiver. Is my opinion on that, but we could certainly potentially put him in the backfield at times. Little Harvin special there.
There
I
you
don't
go.
not drawing that comparison. I never do. I'm never bold enough to make that comparison. Nobody's Percy. They're just not. But at the end of the day, I do think that this is a nice pickup. I also, in watching some of his film, because I did check him out a little bit, I thought he had some pretty decent route running. Stuff that I saw, which is good because that's often something that has to really be developed with some of these kids. And I thought his was pretty decent for what I saw, at the high school level. So good stuff there. All right, moving on.
Nice.
Next on the list is one Mr. CJ Brana. This one was very contested. Really looked like for a time it was going to flip to Ohio State, but did not. So once again, kept it in the fold. Awesome to see. He's a cornerback. He's a 4-star. Overall 98th, 15th in the state of Florida. I did not get the positional rating on these overall, so apologies for that. We will differ there. But
Oh, sure.
15th in the state of Florida, as I said. Very instinctive corner with a really good feel for the ball and where it is going. In watching his film, he just had a nose for it. The interceptions that he made, which there are quite a few interceptions on the film, several of them came in off-man coverage, which is not something that I commonly see in high school film. When you watch high school film, guys are playing man coverage. They just get the better of the receiver that they're playing right, and they make picks. You do not typically see guys in high school film playing off man and breaking in on the ball unless they're safeties. And he's not a safety, he's a corner. So, very interesting to see this. A lot of zone looks with him. He could really be quite a good zone corner, I think, which is just not a skill set you see developed in high school very often. Really interesting. Nice return skills as well, on a lot of the picks. You can kind of see looks really fluid as a runner, and he has elite speed. Verified 100 time of 10.34. That is Tank Hawkins fast, which Tank Hawkins I hope stays, but I don't know if he will, based on the redshirt designation. So we'll see what happens there. But that is a fast 100 time. He is running. Only knock I saw from the scouting profile on him is that he didn't play the toughest competition at Windermere because they have an independent schedule. But he did show out at the Under Armour game before the senior season. Absolutely balled in that game. So he will need to put a little weight on. He's only 175, but that shouldn't be a huge issue. He has the build for it. Certainly, there's no lack there, and I'm excited that we landed him. Absolutely. After all the back and forth with OSU and everything else, really cool that we were able to get him in the fold. I do not think it hurt that we hired a defensive coach for this one. So may have been a nice pickup there. So yeah, that's what I got on Brana.
Nice. And then the one note there, when you look at the state of Florida, there's the FHSAA, Florida High School Athletic Association. For the record, majority of schools belong to the FHSAA, but there are several independents who are smaller for private schools, smaller schools, rural schools, things like that. So a lot of times the competition is not exactly the same as would be statewide.
Gotcha. Cool. Good to know.
There you go. All right, awesome. Yeah, the thing that stood out to me about CJ, it looked like he's a verified, bona fide ball hawk. So that is awesome.
Absolutely.
Definitely good stuff. All right, moving on. Kevin Ford. Edge, 6'3", 245.
Yeah.
Folks, he's out of Duncanville, Texas. And if you've watched high school football on ESPN, you have seen Duncanville featured several times. They are a powerhouse in Texas. All right, coming to you 4-star, 92.62 overall, nationally number 148, number 18 in the Edge class, and number 20 in the state of Texas. Mike Peterson is primary contact here at Florida. Good job pursuing him, Mike. We held off a very late push from Timu. That is Florida West, aka Texas A&M University. For those of you who listen regularly, yes, we go by that designation, Timu now. Thank you to the offsite.
I love that new name. I really love it.
Yes, occasionally we come up with a good one. But regardless of the fact, Elko couldn't do it, the boosters couldn't do it, the oil money couldn't do it. That's all right. He's coming to the orange and blue. He finds himself outside of the edge. He likes the jack position, likes the F position, and he likes the fact that our staff likes the fact that he's a true pass rusher. Okay. Yep. Here in a senior season, 22 tackles, 13 solo, 14 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, forced fumble, a block punt, and a partridge in a pear tree. The kid's everywhere. Yep. Here's the thing about Ford. First step quickness, his biggest strength. Consistently beats the offensive tackles out of their stance, immediately puts pressure on the quarterback. Excellent timing. He plays with massive sense of urgency from snap to finish. He has an idea, and this is another quote, he has an ideal frame for an edge defender in the SEC. Long arms, lean muscle, flexible, and not to mention high IQ. He flashes the ability to dip low, flatten path to the quarterback, which is obviously a strong trait at the edge position, continues to grow physically, and these give him the tools for long-term upside. He's got it all. He's got a high motor, he's got the IQ, he's got the physical abilities. So He is going to be much needed because, as we know, these past couple of years, our edges have not been able to do what they've needed to do in that edge position, whether one side being
Yep.
hurt, one side being off, battling injuries, whatever the case might be. I think he's going to really redefine the edge position when he's able to get on the field here for the defense.
Yeah, I consider him one of the higher ceiling guys in this class. It
Hmm.
remains to be seen if he sees that ceiling, but to me, he's got a huge, huge upside here. Always kind of questionable at edge there. You look at LJ and what he should have been able to do, and granted,
Yeah.
injury has been a big factor, but so we'll see, assuming he stays, if he's able to hit some of those marks. If he's able to get healthy, but I because I'm not sold that he can't yet, but it's just been a struggle there. But I do think here there is definitely a ceiling, but there's also a floor, and the floor there's a gap there, right? So we'll have to see how that one pans out. Speaking of ceiling and floor, I'm going to give you a rundown here on one Jarraylen McCoy. Next up in this list, he is a defensive lineman, technically classified. He's not technically classified as an edge, which is interesting because he would definitely play one of the edge positions, which is weird that he's classified as a D lineman, but it is what it is. 4-star, 155 overall, so right there near the same as Ford here.
Hmm.
Seventh ranked player out of the SIP, as the kids say, right?
Yes.
So Mississippi. Six
You're so
foot
cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
6 foot 6.5, so not 6'7", because then I could have got a 6'7" in there. See,
Hey,
almost
yo.
did two of them. But
Almost.
265. So 6 foot 6.5, 265. He's a big fella. 36-inch arms. So again, you mentioned the prototypical profile. Jarraylen's got it, man. This kid is built as an edge rusher for sure, no question. Very high ceiling player here again, who has not yet reached his full potential despite some outstanding seasons already. I'm going to give you a big breakdown here. I'm going to go freshman through senior year, all the stats, even though senior year is technically not done because Tupelo plays the state championship on Saturday. So here you go. Freshman year, 70 tackles.
Whoa.
70. 9 tackles for loss, 6 sacks to help Tupelo to a state semifinal that season. Sophomore year, 44 tackles, backed it up a little bit. 23 tackles for loss and 11 sacks, however.
Ooh.
Whoa. Big numbers in the backfield for that season. And 2 forced fumbles. Almost left that out. Junior year, we slipped back a bit, however. Only 30 tackles, 7.5 for loss, but only 1.5 sacks. However, his team went 14-0 and won the state title. So,
Yeah. Big double
contributor
team.
there. And there was a little bit of rotational stuff going on from what I read. This year, however, bounce back. 56 tackles, 16 TFLs, and 7 sacks. And the team is currently 13-1, as I already mentioned, playing for the state title again this weekend. This is likely why, however, there is so much disparity in his rating when you look at ESPN to On3 to 247. ESPN has him as the 12th ranked player in the country overall, and Rivals or On3, same thing, and 247 have him ranked somewhere in the mid 150s. So big difference there. Big difference there in that ranking. And when you look at that, that's why you're seeing this discrepancy, right, overall in what you're seeing. But clearly a ton of potential with what he can do, and excited to see what he can bring. Think there is absolutely, as I mentioned, a very high ceiling possibility here, but time will tell. So that's what we got on Jarraylen, man.
Awesome. Love it. Here's another kid, especially when you look at that size, man. 6'6", 6.5", 265. I mean,
You can say 6'6", 6'7". That would get it in there too.
okay, good. 6'6", 6'7". I don't know,
There
man.
you
That
go.
that that is a man child. That is
Yeah.
just that's he very large. He's throwing like bull.
There you
Um,
go.
and that's the thing. When I see some of the makeup on these kids, I said, my goodness, I wish the good Lord blessed me with a little bit of size. Anyways, good rundown there.
I'll leave
Sick
that
numbers.
one alone, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair. Good rundown. I'll take it. Um, moving on. to Justin Williams, wide receiver, also classified as ATH athlete,
Yeah, buddy.
5'11", 190 out of FW Buchholz High School here in our backyard of Gainesville, Florida.
Yes, indeed.
Four-star, 92.34 overall, nationally number 159 in the wide receiver class number 24, and in the state of Florida, number 23.
And
Billy
for the
Gonzalez.
life of me, I got to interject. I don't understand how those rankings are that low when you look at his numbers. I don't get it.
Makes no sense. But Billy Gonzalez was on him early and made sense. Justin Williams qualified he was a finalist for Florida's Mr. Football Award. And those of you who don't know, Mr. Football has come out of Buchholz High School 2 times out of the past 10 years. Kind of cool. He was named the Gainesville Suns All Area Big School Offensive Player of the Year. Best way to describe him: tough, competitive football player that gets the most out of every single touch. Not the biggest, not the fastest, but definitely the grittiest. Built more like a running back, plays more like a running back, and he's not afraid to lower the shoulder and initiate some contact. He's
Love
very
that.
decisive. Yeah, love that. Rather decisive as a ball carrier, he wastes very little motion going east and west, loves running north and south. So fantastic there. Not exactly a burner, right? But definitely equipped with favorable play speed and very good foot quickness. So as a junior, he helped lead Buchholz 10-4, their fourth straight state semifinal game, rushing for over 1,000 yards and adding over 1,400 receiving yards.
Yep, one of the only players in the state, if not the only last year. I don't know the numbers on that to do 1,000 on both receiving and rushing.
It marked the first time, yes, be great segue, in the state that a player went for 1,000 and 1,000 the same season since Devin Hester
Oh,
in
well, look at that.
2002.
Mm-hmm.
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 So despite this year having a bullseye on his back and he's seeing different coverages from schools, okay, still had 1,059 yards, 12 touchdowns, and receiving 64 receptions along with 492 yards and 9 touchdowns, rushing on 76 carries. So he did average 6.5 yards per carry. Saw this kid, officiated a game with this kid at Ponte Vedra. It's amazing. Again, 5'11", 190, you go, okay, he's kind of undersized. But when I say he maximizes his size, he absolutely does. Very good vision, very good football IQ in the sense of he knows exactly where to run, where the gaps are, following blockers, and seeing plays unfold. He's got a quick first step, but the other thing I liked about him is that he does have some patience behind him so he
Mm-hmm.
can see how the play is unfolding. So Justin Williams, he's going to be a good one. Great, really good addition.
Yeah, love that. One more stat I'll throw at you that I saw on either 247 or on 3. I don't remember which one it was, but his sophomore season, he also had 1,000 yards receiving. So that is 3 straight 1,000 plus yards receiving in high school. Pretty impressive stuff, man.
He's good.
Yeah,
He's
he's
good.
good. But
He's good.
159 overall. Okay, sure. Whatever you say, recruiting
Yeah,
guys.
I really couldn't. I mean, it's not the fact that his size plays into it at 5'11", a buck 90, because like the stats are the stats, but okay.
I mean, maybe it does to an extent, but I mean, there are slot guys that get rated higher than that. So I
Right.
don't know what they see sometimes, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. So
Yeah.
whatever. All right, moving along. Yeah, Justin Williams is a find. That's a great get. I don't care what anybody says. That's underrated
Yeah.
for sure. That's one of those that, yeah, and not that his rating is bad, but that's still underrated. I'm not saying he's necessarily a 5-star, but that's a top 100 kid all day. I don't care. He just is. So moving along. Kendall Gervil, 4-star defensive lineman out of Fort Myers, Florida, 204th overall, 29th ranked player in Florida. He is 6'4.5", 315 pounds, but very athletic defensive tackle here. So he is for the interior part of the line. Unfortunately, had his senior year cut short due to an ACL tear.
Oh,
But nonetheless, he will join what is currently a very talented interior defensive line room, as we know from seeing what we saw on the field this season, and make it even better. Um, he also competed in weightlifting in high school and will do well to continue to build his frame to compete in the interior of the trenches in the SEC, despite the fact that he's already, pretty good sized for that. But we were very pleased with what we saw from the young talent in the interior of this room, as I already mentioned. And Kendall looks to be another solid piece to add to that. As I mentioned, very athletic, very quick, good off the ball, gets a nice jump for being on the inside of the line, great at run stuffing, fights through the double teams when he gets them. The junior year film on him looks outstanding. So I think this is a guy whose profile really would have risen had he had a senior year to play. Didn't get it. So I think another one here where we may have kind of snuck in and grabbed him. I think that injury may have helped us, especially considering the situation we were in here. And I think this is going to be a great get.
man, another one. 6'4", 4.5, 6'5", 315. I mean, I
Yep.
just look at his physical stature, and this kid is solid. This
Yep.
kid is absolutely solid. Yeah, and that's the thing. When you look at the interior line there, the D line, once he gets healthy again, we'll get him healthy, strength training, everything else. I expect him to be a very good addition amongst that line.
Yeah, and his when they do the re-rank here in the spring, he will probably fall because he didn't have a senior season,
Sure.
which is unfair, but it will probably happen. But don't let that phase anybody, right? Because he's going to be solid.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think of a position like that, especially on the D line and an ACL tear. I wonder if he got rolled up on or just, got hit from the side and then got collapsed on. But either
Yeah.
way, specimen of a kid. Specimen of a
Yep.
kid. Okay, awesome, B. Next up, Will Griffin. I know people have
Willie
heard a lot
Willie
about this
G.
kid. That's right. That's right. Quarterback, right? 6'2", 2.5, maybe 6'3", 225 out of Jesuit, Tampa, Florida. Four-star quarterback, 90.85 overall. Nationally, 243rd in the quarterback class, number 16. The state of Florida, number 34. Primary contact, Mr. Ryan O'Hara. So thank you, Ryan, for continuing that relationship and getting Will here. Now, again, a lot of you might have seen Will posted on social media several times regarding the coaching staff and the changes, and it doesn't matter. He loves the orange and blue. He's always wanted to be a Gator. He will be a Gator, and it's not because of solely any one person. And not to mention, Will Griffin, for the record, he committed back in June of 2024. Obviously, a couple of years ago, we had another quarterback who committed well over a year in advance. So, expecting some big things out of him. Definitely, there's a lot of loyalty and pride behind that commitment. So, a couple things. Will Griffin is Tampa Bay's all time passing leader. Okay. He surpassed Quentin Williams with over 10,677 yards. Okay. 10,000 plus career passing yards in the state of Florida. Florida became only one of 10 quarterbacks in state history to hit this mark, passing one, Timothy Thibault. Number two in Florida for career passing touchdowns, moved up to second all time in the state this year recently. Not to mention at Jesuit, he's the single season passing touchdown record, broke the school record for most passing touchdowns in a season with 36 this year. Physically gifted quarterback, ready to play bulk that can beat coverages at all three levels. But the main knock on Will has to get more consistent, especially with windows. Owns plenty of game experience. This is what I thought was really interesting about him. He enters his senior season with 46 career starts under his belt. Like, wait a minute, 46? How's that possible? Oh, wait. Yeah, he started playing varsity level as an eighth grader.
Wow.
Yes. He's shown the ability to play from a structured environment in a single back spread attack, okay, but also proven to be a slick mover in both in and outside the pocket, that he can escape pressure and extend plays. So he does an excellent job at climbing the pocket, stepping up, throwing as He's apparently got a cannon of an arm. Great lines, short targets, intermediate targets. He does struggle with the longer ball and ball placement, like I said before, the window with deeper shots. So the momentum is going to be key with him with shorter drives, but perennial pocket passer, not the fastest, not a burner, but can definitely move the legs when he needs to. And not to mention, he participated in the Under Armour All American game this year, 11 of 22 passing for 82 yards. So, Will Griffin, QB commit, class of 2026, he is a solid find, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. And love his loyalty throughout all this. Really love that he stayed committed to school and didn't, rely on the coach, and had recruiting efforts going on, as you mentioned, right in the background, despite all the stuff that was going on. I think it's highly possible that he played at least some small role in keeping this thing together. Love all that stuff, man. Happy to have him here.
Yes.
Love that he wants to be a Gator and has a drive to do that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So really looking forward to having him. Think he's going to be a solid addition, man. I hope he plays up to the potential that he looks like he could have. So really good stuff. All right, on to the next. I still don't know if it's Hees or Heezy. Haven't been able to get clarification on that, but we'll go with Heezy. Heezy Kent. You talked about the various different designations earlier. Well, I got 3 for you on this guy. He is
tell me.
potentially an athlete, a tight end, or an offensive tackle.
Take your pick your take.
Yeah, that's right. Take your pick your take. 4-star, 264th overall. I think that's basically because they don't know how to classify him. On 3 has him classified as an offensive tackle currently. 33rd ranked player out of Georgia. That you can stake your claim on, because that is just based on overall player rank. He is 6'6", 320, and I am telling you, this is a wild card alert right here.
Whoa.
Think about Pegues a couple years ago at Ole Miss, right? Except I think way more dynamic, and I don't think I know. This kid could be a huge difference maker and an absolute matchup nightmare. I'm going to read you the scouting report. I'm a direct quoted here. Uncommon movement skills from a player of his size in the open field, and will make acrobatic ladder climbing snags in the red zone.
I bet he can.
I'm gonna repeat that. Acrobatic ladder climbing snags. He's 6'6", 320, and we're talking about climbing the ladder. What? Dominates South Georgia 5A competition in a variety of ways, and has even found success as a ball carrier. Could start his career as a specialty tight end in 12 or 13 personnel. One reason where we might actually want some of that 12 or 13 personnel back. Not really. I'm kidding. I don't want it back. Groupings before transitioning to a long-term positional home. Sheer size and athleticism point to obvious long-term NFL upside, especially if he embraces a role along the offensive or defensive lines at the next level. That is 247 analyst Hudson Standish giving those comments. So the potential for use here is really interesting, and I'm excited to see the different ways we can use Heezy now that he is a Gator, especially now that we have a very adaptive offensive coordinator in one Mr. Faulkner, who is very good at calling plays that fit his players' strengths, if you look at him historically. So very excited to see what he might do with somebody like this. Super enthused about this kid. I'm really actually very stoked we got him. I was quite worried we might lose him, actually, and really excited that we held on to him. What are your thoughts there?
What are they feeding these kids nowadays, man? Seriously. This makes zero sense to me. But at 6'6", 320, I just got to see it. I just got to see it on the field. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully we'll see it here in April in the orange and blue. But holy smokes, man. Just the stature is unreal.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. The orange blue game could be interesting for sure if he gets some time in it. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, Caden Hall.
Caden Hall. So, Caden Hall is yet to
Officially
commit.
signed. You're checking to make sure, aren't you?
I am. I'm like refresh, refresh, refresh. But either way, all good. Uh, Caden Hall, safety, 6'2.5", 200 pounds, out of Milton High School in Milton, Florida. 4-star, 90.47 overall. Nationally, 269. But in the safety room, safety class, 25. Overall, state of Florida, 37. Primary contact, Vinny Sinceri, former safety at Alabama. So there you go. Multi-sport athlete, has also played basketball in high school. Large framed defender that looks destined for an overhang role at the next level with his range and pursuit prowess. Ooh. He burst on the recruiting scene as a sophomore, making plays on both sides of the football, but had a good chunk of junior campaign derailed by injury. So, quick trigger from second level perch, willing to tape sharper angles to the football, known as a ball hawk, more of a built speed athlete at this stage, but can close gaps when convicted and has some impressive bounce, which allows him to play above the shoulder pads. So, again, 6'2" and change, 200 pounds, stocky, right? Overall, should be viewed as a potential multi-year contributor at the Power 4 level. All conference upside that could provide some alignment flexibility for the defense. Here's the catch. Because of that injury, must get healthy, likely needs to get some time in the weight room and also add to his flexibility. So that is Mr. Caden Hall.
Yep, very good. Yeah, obviously hoping we get him to go ahead and sign. We need all the help in the safety room we can get,
You
clearly.
don't say.
Yeah. Though I do like our freshmen there. I will say that. I like our underclassmen in that room. So I do think that is, a good job we did addressing that previously. And obviously, I like our other pickup we'll talk about later. We skipped over him rankings wise to do him at the end because of the flip status in one Mr. Purder. So we will talk about him at the end. But we'll see what happens with Caden. No indications of any flips here going away. Just think he's taking a little longer to sign for whatever reason. So he wasn't even projected to sign until Thursday. So being today. So we'll see if for any reason that just got delayed. We don't know. But we'll see what happens. So,
I guess he's
all
just
right.
slow playing the river.
Possibly. We'll see. Like that. Well, is today the turn and Friday's the river? I don't know. Little Hold'em
Hey yo.
reference there. We'll
Hey
see.
yo.
All right. All right. Next, Marquez Daniel, 4-star wide receiver, number 272 overall, out of Alabama as well. This is actually probably a little bit of the reason why we got Purder. Not the only one, certainly, but actually Summerall relationship was the main reason there. But this didn't hurt. He is the 14th ranked player out of Alabama, out of Booker T. Washington, which is also where Purder played. Thus the assist there.
There you go.
He is 6'5", 195, and has good speed as well. So obviously great height and all the physical traits here for another matchup problem, right? However, according to the scouting report, there is a good amount of work to be done here as a route runner, and he will need to develop more in the weight room as well. So there are certainly things he can do as a Gator to improve, and obviously things that we can work on him with. And at the end of the day, you cannot teach height or speed, right? So we got speed, we got height, we got, the physical traits that you can't coach those, right? Or get those in the weight room. So this is another good get for us at receiver where we continue to just stack talent. Billy G is really good at doing this. We got slot guys, we got edge guys, we just got players all over the field. Now we just have to keep it, right? So the important thing that we're going to need to take note of, obviously, is we're going to lose JaMichael. He's a redshirt senior, so he's gone.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we're going to have to, just work on keeping the talent that we have, because obviously we have a ton of young talent at receiver. We need to hold on to as much of it as possible, if not, hopefully, all of it. That would clearly be the goal. So, that would really be what we would like to see here moving forward. But again, Marquez here, really nice pickup. He signed very early yesterday. Clearly, very solid commit. Really looking forward to having him in the fold. And again, just a matchup problem at 6'5", 195. So really looking forward to having him here and seeing what he can do.
Man, tall. Too
Yeah,
tall.
too tall.
Crazy. So yeah, that's the thing at 6'5", being 180, 87, 89, 90, 92 pounds, he probably needs to add a good 15, 12 to 15 pounds of muscle on there to even that out. But outside of that, basketball player averaged 17 points per game, 9 rebounds a game, 2 blocks a game. Okay. Track and field, posted a 5'8" effort in the high jump. Okay, doing some great things there. So multi-sport athlete, doing some big things, just overall, to be that kind of a size, a little bit wiry, right? But still, total athlete. I can see him doing some great things. And especially when you look at that size, throw the ball up, just let him go get it.
That's it.
End of story. Good night. Game over. Drive home safely.
That's it. That is it. All right, moving on to the pronunciation challenge, number 1 of the evening. Go for it.
Tyler Chukuyam.
There you go. Nicely done.
Offensive tackle, 6'6", 295. Huh. Another man child.
That's a big one. Yeah, for sure.
Right? So he's got a special designation right now for Gator Nation, and more particularly, John Sumrall. He's the first signee officially of the John Sumrall era.
Oh, nice.
Out of South Paulding High School, Douglasville, Georgia there. Douglas, I think Shaq has a house in Douglasville. Anyways, 4-star, 90.31 overall. Nationally, 283. In the OT class, number 25. In the state of Georgia, number 37. Primary contact, Mr. Rob Sale. Rob, thank you for that sale for Tyler.
Yeah, before you sail away.
Sail away, sail away, sail away. Thank you, Enya. Tyler had a lot of offers, mainly because of his physicality. He had over 25 offers on the table. So a couple things on Tyler. Very explosive out of his stance. Like, wait, 6'6", 295, almost 300 is explosive?
Yeah, I can see
Yes.
that though. For that height and weight on the O-line, yeah, I can see it.
Explosive out of his stance, very quick first step, and he's not a wide receiver or a running back. Okay. Yes, extremely quick to move downhill, can sense the play establishing very well, and turning his man. Whether he is downhill, blocking the interior, reach blocking on an angle, or working outside as a zone blocker, Tyler has excelled in all of these areas. In addition to that, Tyler has no problem driving his legs and pushing into the second level of the defense, making him a very good run blocker in those types of concepts. Tyler Chikuyim, 6'6", 295 on the sheet, but he's going to be a big asset on that offensive line for the Gators.
Yeah, clearly the best offensive lineman in this class, in a class where we need more offensive linemen. Just in general, not saying this class needs more of them, but just in general, we need more of them, right? So clearly the best one, top 300, solid get here. This was a good one, really important one to keep, and we kept him. So that was really good. But obviously something where we have lacked in pulling a lot of high-end talent in. This is one of the better ones that we've been able to pull. Him and Fletcher Westphal, I think, are the 2 highest talented-wise players that we've pulled in. So this was a really good get. So nice.
Isn't that the wildest thing? Right?
Yeah.
We've got 2 offensive line coaches.
Yep.
Let that sink in,
Can't
folks.
recruit, though. Can't recruit.
Can't recruit worth a beep.
Nope. Okay. Nope. Not at all. So yeah, anyways. That's, but yeah, no, solid get here, and it was an important one to keep. for sure.
Yes.
One of the more important keeps in this whole thing. Obviously they all mattered, but that one was definitely a big one. All right, another big one here. I would say, though, one I'm not surprised at all that we kept: Malik Morris, linebacker, 4-star, number 304 overall, 42nd ranked player out of Florida. So just let that sink in for a second. He's
Woof.
304th in the country and 42nd in Florida. Do the math.
Eh.
It's just welcome to Florida. Um,
Exactly.
6'1", 260, a good sized linebacker for a high school player, and comes out of the famed Lakeland High. Pouncey twins, Cormani, they all went there, right? There's a lot more than that, too. I think Ray went there, too, right? Didn't Ray Lewis go to Lakeland? I think he did.
He might
At
have.
least he's from Lakeland. I don't know if he went to Lakeland High, but he's from Lakeland originally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to quote the scouting report here again because I absolutely loved it. It was just great. So here you go. Pit bull of a linebacker that sees the game better than most his age as he breaches gaps and gets ball carriers to the ground. And I watched the film, he does. Extremely active in the box as he seeks and plays through contact, quick to read and diagnose with his eyes, and can swiftly change course if needed. Downhill charge has proven to be a headache for opposing running backs on Friday nights, also true from the film review, but doesn't appear to be the type of athlete that's going to win every foot race. Owns more of a muscled up build at this stage, which could have him in the lineup sooner rather than later on Saturdays. This is very true. My concern here would be potentially pass coverage for him because he is definitely more of a run stopping type, a little older school, get in the backfield type linebacker. However, he does have the physical athleticism to be able to still play in coverage. He's certainly not incapable of that, but will need some work there. He helped Lakeland get to the 5A state title game last season with a 13-1 record. His junior year stats were as follows: 95 tackles,
Yikes.
9 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. Also won the Polk County title for shot put and came in third in regionals last year. So dude is strong, because you don't win the shot put at any level unless you're strong. Very high on this kid. I think he's definitely got a lot of upside. Just have to make sure that he's got the ability to figure out the pass coverage side of things. And I'm not saying he can't do that at all, but he's definitely the type you want in there, hard nosed, getting in, stopping the run. Very, very capable linebacker, and excited to see what he can do with a more defensive focused kind of staff there, and not overall, but just having that pedigree on the staff now will be interesting to see what we can do with him.
Pitbull.
Yeah, loved that.
Pitbull.
Loved that.
Like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that coach years ago. We need a bunch of dogs,
Yep.
not cats, right?
Yep.
Not, how's my bands, right? Oh my gosh, yeah. This
Yep.
guy's going to be good. Robert
Love.
Ball, a primary contact there. Really good job getting
Yep.
him. Multi-sport athlete, right? Basketball, track and field. Just, I I just love that description, pit bull. I mean,
Yep.
you just can't get better than that when you look at being in the trenches there as a linebacker, going up and doing some of the dirty work. So,
And I mean, he absolutely blows plays up, man. If you go watch this film, he destroys stuff. I mean, great reads, great anticipation, gets into the backfield like he's on the D line, blowing up a block, but he's not. He's playing from the second level and just blows stuff up. I mean, in a blink of an eye. I mean, it's fun to watch.
love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Good
Awesome.
stuff. All right, on to Brevard County.
All right, where are we going? Where are we going? We're going to go to C.J. Hester, cornerback, 6'1", 175, out of Cocoa High School, Cocoa, Florida. The Tigers, where they just have created an absolute powerhouse of a program there in Brevard.
Shout out to AD Mark Carstens.
There you go. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, B.
Yes,
there you
indeed.
go. 4-star, 89.38 overall nationally. 376 in the quarterback class, 40. State of Florida, 52. Primary contact, Deron Wilson. So thank you for that, Deron. Battle tested. Just like Pitbull is a
Yes,
great
indeed.
description.
Yep.
battle-tested DB
Well,
with
you win 3 state titles. You're probably pretty battle tested.
exactly with natural coverage skills and some alignment flexibility that has been produced since he was a freshman from Cocoa. That's won 3 straight titles. Plenty of experience working in off-man situations from an outside positioning and does a favorable job of putting himself in position to make plays in the deeper third with his route recognition. So the football IQ is there as well. I love this description as well. He's an animated tackler as he charges charges towards opponents and tries to unload with force. Yes, not afraid to lower a shoulder and rock a compromised pass catcher either. Owns promising track and field metrics, but game take impersonal evaluation suggests that he's quicker than he is fast. Also can earn snaps as a nickel defender. Folks, I've seen film on him. I've seen him on the field in person against South Sumter. He's got some great tools, just an overall athlete, great kid, and not to mention the football IQ, way, way, way up there. Looking forward to seeing this one on the field, no doubt, in that safety, in that cornerback position for sure.
So we only have 5 left to go here before we get to the flip, obviously, which would be higher up on the list. And we are just now going to get out of the top 500. Pretty impressive
There you
stuff.
go.
Pretty impressive stuff. All right.
Top notch.
Yeah, love CJ, obviously. Solid corner here. Really, really should be a good ad. Again, I think possibly a little underranked, if I'm being honest. But, again, it is what it is. We'll move on. All right. Now, for my attempt at pronunciation, Genevre Carr. Inside offensive lineman, 3-star, first 3-star we're getting to on the list here, 527th overall, 67th ranked player out of Florida. 6'4", 336. Again, as you might expect, a little on the bigger side for an interior lineman. Has good athleticism and speed for an interior lineman, though. Again, in watching the film on this, he should be great as a pulling guard in run sets, and really does a nice job of getting to the second level to find the blocks when you're watching this film on him, as I mentioned. Does need to work on hand placement and upper body strength. And the balance at times, because he does look like he could easily be pushed back by stronger defensive players, especially on those, interior defensive linemen when you get to that next level. So that will be the developmental piece that I see for him to work on moving forward. But the feet, again, are just outstanding for a young player at this position, especially for his size. That really stood out to me on film. Very quick feet for a big guy, playing the interior of the line. He was also playing some tackle and some of the stuff I saw on film, kind of rotated between those two positions. And I mean, his feet are great. I mean, they are absolutely great. It's just kind of the upper body and some of that strength stuff that needs to work. But I mean, you build that up, and this guy could be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So, really, really interesting to see what the staff can do to kind of develop him. Again with that upper body stuff, but the lower body, man, I mean, I was floored seeing how big he was and seeing how quick his feet were and how quick he was able to pull out and get around and move downfield. I was like, 6'4", 336. What? This dude's moving like that at that weight? Like I was absolutely shocked. Very impressed by him in terms of the lower body action. So really good stuff there. And they say O-line's really all about the feet and the hands. So get a little work on the hands there and the balance, and I think this kid could really be good.
Nice. Yeah. LBA, lower body action
Yep.
at 6'4", 325. Holy smokes. Kid's like 17 years old. I don't think he's turned 18 yet. It's amazing. It's just
Yep.
absolutely amazing to see the way he moves. And so, especially needed on the interior of that O-line, that's going to be much needed and much desired. So, absolutely looking forward to seeing him get some snaps and get developed and pushing some people around for sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Where would you like to head next, B?
Let's go to your next offensive lineman there.
Well, I tell you what, I would like to say that the Chancellor has arrived. Folks, this is a fun one. Chancellor Campbell, CC, aka the Chancellor, Folks, get a load of this. 6'8", 310. Huh? That makes zero sense. Out of
Yeah.
Lakewood High School, out of St. Petersburg, Florida. 3-star overall, 88.03. So nationally, number 581. And the offensive tackle class, 44, state of Florida, 72. Primary contact there is going to be Mr. Rob Sale. So there's a little bit of information on that. So, type of offensive tackle with the best in-class type of length measurements. You don't say it's 6'8", 310.
Yeah,
He's
right.
still so this is where the star rating code. This is where he got knocked. Okay, still figuring out how to navigate all the challenges that come with being a quarterback's bodyguard. Okay, but put extremely encouraging stretches of play, right, and tape before his senior year. He plays naturally with a high frame that's pushing, right, the 6'8", almost 6'9" area, but will do his best to utilize his lower half and take defenders to the ground. Here's another thing. He's not always the quickest out of his stance, but he can recover, like few others in pass protection, with his reach and force assignments into secondary moves. So he does struggle at times to engage targets on down angle blocks, right? But he's athletic enough to get upfield on the zone stuff and recover. Folks, his body is still maturing. So
Yep.
think of like the baby deer and a little bit there. Okay. He also plays basketball. So he's a
Oh,
multi-sport
that's
athlete.
scary.
Exactly. But here's the other thing too. Chamberlain Campbell, older brother, former defensive lineman at Ole Miss. Yes, I said former. He signed with the Rebels in 22, right? But guess who just entered the transfer portal?
Hmm.
Yes,
Interesting.
Chamberlain Campbell.
Interesting.
Anyways, I love the name. I love the stature. This kid, we just need to get him developed. He needs more reps. Like you said, B, it's the LBA for the O line, the lower body action. He needs to get better with his feet, but the overall size and sheer strength. I mean, 18 years old, the kid's a man child, absolute man child. But that's where he got knocked, went down from 4 to a 3. Got some things to work on, but all the length, the height, the size, it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff there. Yeah, the size there is really impressive, and obviously has the potential to be a big force there with those kind of size stats. So we'll be interested to see how that plays out.
Yes.
Next up, another offensive lineman, and I'm really not sure where he got knocked in watching this film. So again, this ranking confuses me. So I'll have to see what the knock was here. I didn't read any report on it. I'd rather just watch the film myself, so that's what I did. But Desmond Green's your next one up here. Interior offensive lineman, 3-star, 836 overall, 16th ranked player out of South Carolina. He goes 6'4" and a half, 350. So this
Boy.
is a large individual, and he is, I will tell you, powerful. The thing that stood out to me is he absolutely bowls kids over. Now, obviously, there's a size discrepancy in a lot of cases, but he has won on strength in a lot of cases and size so far in high school for sure. However, he also has mobility, is the thing I would say. It's remarkable actually. He does a really good job of getting downfield after he pancakes his first guy, because that's what he does. He just runs that dude over and then runs downfield looking for the next block. And he's not immobile, like he's not lumbering down the field. He looks fairly agile considering his size profile. He will, of course, have to continue to build strength in the weight room because he's not just going to be able to push players around at the next level with sheer size the way he's can right now, right? That's not going to happen in the SEC, especially, right? But the potential is there for this kid to be an absolute road grader. He is strong. It's not just size, there is strength behind this. He is absolutely, a big individual. I was going to make a Dez comparison, but I don't think it's quite to that level. That's why I hesitated.
Oh, go,
Um,
okay.
So it's not quite there, but he is a big kid, and but he also has strength, and again, he's got some mobility for his size. It's not just um him out there just pushing the first kid down and then standing there. No, he's running down the field. So that's what really impressed me about this. And again, I was very surprised at the ranking when I looked back after watching the film. I certainly see where he's not going to be super high rated, but I also don't necessarily see where he should be this far down the list, looking at it. So again, who decides these things, we don't know, but it is what it is. But I like what I see here. I think this is actually a good pickup. Definitely still a developmental piece in a lot of ways, but certainly somebody with a high upside. So I like Desmond. Good stuff here.
I see why you tried to make that comparison with the first name,
Yeah.
especially, but
Yeah.
still, at 6'4.5", 6'5", at 350,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess the only way to put it is very large human.
Yep.
Yeah, nationally, I was looking at that 840 nationally. The only thing I can say is maybe with that size doesn't come the quickest first step, right? Or just quick anything. But when I took a look at one of the pieces of film, I was like, well, he moves pretty good. So whatever the case might be, either way,
Yep.
that's fine. All right, let me talk about the only tight end in this class, Kekua Amua, out of Kahuku in Kahuku, Hawaii. Go
There you
figure.
go. Nice.
Thank you. Tight end. I had to rehearse that this morning. Tight end, 6'6", 257 pounds. 3-star, 86.77 overall. Nationally, number 924 in the tight end class, number 64 in the state of Hawaii, though, number 6. So, primary contact, Mr. Russ Calloway. Thank you, Russ. We found that Russ does something
Yeah, he did
outside
something
of
good.
being, OC in name only. But anyways, that is what it is. So, Mr. Amua, easily among the best college prospects that On3 saw at the Warriors for Youth Camp back in July. He's an athletic 6'6", 257-pound frame and projects as an every down tight end who can play in any situation in any type of personnel. He showed the following: strong hands, using his frame to box out smaller linebackers and safeties, catches the ball well through contact, big hands. He's a dominant run blocker on tape and can maul opposing linebackers or even edge rushers at the high school level. Physical player with a nice edge in his game, shows the ability to play as an inline tight end in run heavy situations or move out in the slot and be a focal point of the passing game. Interesting. Seems like Napier could have used him.
Yep.
Anyways, but for the most part, great athlete. Yes, he's coming from Hawaii. No, he did not get that amount of looks. But here's the thing, folks, at 6'6", 257, almost 260, and right now there are reports of his training this year, so he might be even closer to 265 or 270. That's just a physical specimen of a kid, right? 18 years young, just unbelievable. So we need help at tight end, between Jackson, between Hanson, and a couple other pieces there. Hopefully, he's going to provide some much needed support in that area. And if he's as good as at run blocking as we think he is, and pass blocking, he's going to be a great asset.
Yep. And one note on him, we should make, he has not signed either, but he was not really expected to sign until today or tomorrow. So
Yes.
no reason to suspect any issue there. Just should be probably signing, I would think, at this point tomorrow, though it is, only what, 5 Hawaiian right now.
I was gonna say,
So could still sign
a few
today,
hours back.
possibly, but yeah. So it is certainly possible that he still signs today, but it also is certainly also fine if he does tomorrow. No potential issues there. All right, wrap this thing up here. Two last ones to get through. I'm going to do them both on this. So Javari Lucas or Lucas, I'm really not sure. I guess I'm not sure the pronunciation on that. Last offensive lineman here. He is definitely a developmental piece. Offensive tackle, 3-star, 1101 overall ranking here, 121st ranked player out of Florida, 6'5", 270. As I mentioned, developmental prospect here, and one that may or may not pan out, quite frankly. He is from Belle Glade, and it always is good to get talent out of Belle Glade, but usually it's the skill position guys that you are going to find the gold there from Belle Glade. But still, good size and strength here. However, he doesn't show a ton of athleticism, is what I would say from the film that I watched on him, at least from his junior year tape. Seems to be a bit more lumbering, a little slow in terms of that. And that's not a knock. It's just to say that he's just not the most athletic, when it comes to being an O lineman. He will need to continue to develop to see if he can improve his footwork, strength, and balance to compete at the SEC level. He's certainly not, inefficient in any of those areas, but just nothing stood out on the tape to me there. He was just kind of, a placeholder at tackle right now. But he does have good size, obviously. At 6'5", 270, but again, a lot of development would be needed there, and just a developmental piece, and that's okay to pick those up, because sometimes those kids, again, they're young, they can grow into more, and he might turn into something. So there's nothing wrong with doing that, and certainly does have upside there. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I like the fact that he committed way back in June and he's held strong. And again, if he's a developmental piece, no problem, especially with this new coaching staff coming into play.
Yep.
Hopefully, development is a big part of their overall plan. So I'm looking forward to see what he could be, because to your point, the size is there.
Yep, absolutely, for sure. And that's what you look for in those, right? It's just all about the size and what you can potentially mold it into, especially at O-line. So, all right, last but not least, certainly, our flip for today, Mr. Dylan Purter, 4-star safety, flipped from LSU, by the way. So
Heyo.
take that one there, Lane. 4-star safety, 181st overall commit, top 200 players, so no small get here. 8th ranked player overall at Alabama, and teammate, as I mentioned earlier, of Marquez Daniel. He is 6 foot 165, so will need to add some weight for the safety position in college. But despite that, one of the more physical corners / safeties in this recruiting class, period. Overall, anywhere. This kid hits. I watched the tape. Ooh-wee. This kid hits. He likes to go get some whether it's a running back, a wide receiver, he doesn't care. He shows a nose for it. He wants to go knock somebody out. Projects really well as a safety for this reason, but also has the speed to cover and could fit really well as a nickel for that reason as well, right? Whether he's coming on a nickel blitz or actually, obviously covering, as I mentioned. Outstanding flip here by Summerall, and it was Summerall who got this. I did some reading on this earlier today. It was his relationship with him that he had forged. I think, he might have struggled to flip him at Tulane, but going to a bigger school, going to a better prospect.
Yes.
Dylan wanted to come. He wanted to come, and this was one that was absolutely not on the radar for us at all before John came, and now obviously it was. Well done, Coach. Hey, hats off to you. This is a nice flip. Billy got a big flip on his first signing day that turned into an absolute nothing burger. I do not, and hey, sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes that happens. It is what it is. I don't see this one turning into a nothing. This kid likes to hit way too much for this to be something that doesn't pan out. The film is nice on him. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is fun. He is a fun player to watch for sure. So with that, we will wrap. Oh, let me give any thoughts you want to give on Dylan first, and then we'll wrap up on that and move on here.
The only thing I'll say is, for a kid that size, you wouldn't think he'd like to hit as much. It's almost like he's a bruiser. He loves contact. Loves
it. Really does.
So
really does.
I'm happy to see that, because you know my MO about getting trucked, right?
That's right.
Trucking. So anyways.
He is on the trucking side of that for sure.
Right.
Um, all right, so quick notes here on what we still need, and then we'll wrap this thing up. For me, the things that stand out, three things that really stand out here because I think we have addressed a lot of needs.
Yeah.
We could still use some veteran wide receiver talent, as I mentioned earlier, because we do lose Sturdivant, and the really only experienced receiver we have coming back is Trey Wilson, right? Nobody else has really seen the field a ton, whether it was because of injury or just being an underclassman or a freshman, right? Um, so that is something we need to look at picking up, which obviously is not a hard thing to do in the portal. We proved that time and time again. But we also need potentially multiple starters on the O line, and that is a hard thing to do. We're losing Slaughter, George, and Barber for sure. Potentially others, but those definitely. And that is going to be by far the biggest and most crucial piece. Now, we do have guys coming in behind them, right? Roderick Kearney could definitely play. Obviously, Najee Harris is going to be back. You've got, Camden Jones that looked pretty decent this year.
Hmm.
You do have pieces that are potentially coming back that could play, some more. We've got some other underclassmen that are coming up. Obviously, I mentioned Fletcher Westfall again. You hoped he could play this year a little bit more, but obviously he will potentially be able to play next year. So you have some guys there, and certainly we have others too. But I am just concerned about the lack of experience there, and I think we definitely need at least a couple of pieces there, and that's hard to get. It's hard to get in the portal. So that to me is going to be a huge, huge thing that we got to look for and try to get through the portal. Lastly, I could use a solid edge rusher or two because we just lost Sapp and Gums, and you know Woods is great. Loved having him back. Think he'll be solid as heck, but we need depth there, and we don't have it. Theoretically, McCray comes back from injury. Hopefully he returns. But again, we don't know what that looks like. You've got
Hmm.
Jalen Wiggins coming up that potentially could do something, but we go from deep there to real thin real quick with the losses that we've seen there. So I really would like to see some potential additions there, at least one, maybe even two, at the edge position coming in on this class. So portal activity is going to be huge. I also wouldn't even mind seeing a more experienced corner too with the loss of Devin Moore, obviously. So, that was just an on the spot add on, but there's going to be portal needs here. There's going to be portal needs here, and we've got to address them. So we'll see what happens and what it looks like, but that's the next task. Well, the next task is keeping the kids here,
Yes.
on the team, and then from there it's addressing the portal needs. So a lot to get to, but liking the moves so far, really liking what we're seeing. It's going okay so far. I'm not mad at it. I'm really not mad at it. What are your thoughts on what we need to pick up?
Yeah, good deal there, B. I would say running back because I look at
Interesting.
Jacoby in the sense of, got hurt and more than likely he's not going to return next year. So you look at that. Of course, we'll see. Hopefully, we retain Jaden. KD,
God, I hope so.
Duke, right? So between KD and Duke, we know KD was hurt a little bit more. So that's going to be interesting to see how that room felt. I would just like one more with a little bit of experience, a little bit of maybe SEC experience, some scar tissue, right? In the good way. So there's that
Fair enough.
tight end. So we know
Ah,
Amora should sign, but if he does not, just one more tight end just to help with the blocking, with the edge, with chipping, with whatever the case might be, and the scheme that we're going to employ in 2026. There's that. I agree with you. An edge rusher, we need to pick up at least two more edges. We
yeah.
need two more edges. Not sure what's going to happen with Kofi. Not sure what's going to happen, with Woods or anybody else changing on the line, but we're losing a lot of depth, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, would love to have a veteran wide receiver. That would be great. It's always good. In this class, we've got what, three on the O line, four on the O line, so that's good. But again, they're not going to be ready. Out of those four,
No.
maybe one's going to be ready to take some snaps maybe late in the season. That's about it.
Doubtful.
So
Freshmen don't really play in the SEC.
right, but that's the thing, right? Unless we've got a game in which we got to cycle through because we know that this team has been notorious, again, different coaching staff, for playing a lot of freshmen. It is what it is. But it'd be nice to have another two more, right? Some veterans on the O line, and then
Yep.
like we were concerned about this past year, especially. cornerback slash safety. I'll put those two in one, and it would be nice to have a little another body or two that's seasoned with some experience there because of what we are losing, especially with Devin. That's it.
Nice. I like it. Yep. No, I think those are all good points. Definitely a lot of stuff we got to address. As we
Yes.
mentioned, this class, we didn't really get to fill it out the way we would have liked because we didn't have any additional recruiting going on here the back half of the season. Couldn't
Yeah.
really get to a lot of flips. And that again, that's understandable, but we've got to address it, right? We've got to address it. We can't just hold pat like we did last year and not really hit the portal. I mean, heck, we didn't really hit the portal that much the whole time Billy was here, and that's just not something that we can do, especially not right now. So it seems Summerall is perfectly willing and all for doing that. So here's hoping that we do that because we need to. So with that, we will wrap this thing up. Really enjoyed taking a look at this class and what it could mean for the future of the program. As always, it's a pod I enjoy doing every year with you. Definitely, again, can't say enough about the job the staff has done, both current and future and whatever past, present, future, um, and being able to get that done, and also really hopeful that with getting the coordinators hired so quickly that we're able to maintain the bulk of the players. I really think that does help. I think that's huge. So we'll see what happens come Friday and beyond here when we get to the 15-day window. But that's tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow it opens. So let the floodgates hopefully not open, but we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
man.
the
Time
the
will tell.
yeah, time will tell is
15
right.
days.
So next pod will be coming to you on Tuesday. Where we will get into season recap is the plan. We are going to try and go ahead and get the season recap done, but then we will have another one after that to break down the coach and coordinator hires from there, take a look at the
Yep.
staff, and obviously Summerall overall, but we're going to get our season recap out of the way first. So next Tuesday, season recap, we will go from there. So with that, I'll turn it over to you for any final thoughts and to sign us off.
Really good to see these kids, take a look at them, evaluate them on a different level, get to dive in a little bit. Can't wait to see them wear the orange and blue and contribute and build and hopefully build the next great generation of teams. So here we go.
Yeah,
Wherever
man.
you are and whenever you may be listening, thank you for taking the time, and we will see you around, Gator Nation.